Okay, let's look at the EU development blog now. EU Wargaming, World of Warships development blog. Test ships, closed test 14.0, changes to test ships. In 2022, we announced the closed test of a new branch, Soviet submarines. Yes, and it was a fucking disaster. I remember the 37-knot K1 submarine that they talked about. It was the biggest fucking joke ever. Now, we plan to introduce these ships again next year. Updating them with a fresh concept to carve out an interesting and distinct role in the current gameplay landscape. Bro, it doesn't matter how flowery words you use, the submarine gameplay in this game is fucking ass. It's the most dumbed down arcadey piece of shit. It's not fun to play, it's not fun to play against. Like, the only people who enjoy submarines are people who suck at every aspect of the game, and they can pad their stats playing this shit. They can torture people playing this shit. There is no one who's actually good who enjoys these ships. Have you guys noticed, like, is Wargaming aware that there's no one out there who's like super unicorn but actually enjoys playing subs? I wonder if they're fucking aware of this. The original design leaned too closely to other available playstyles in submarines, lacking unique traits apart from their exceptional submarine surveillance consumer. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The new concept repositions these submarines closer to destroyers in playstyle. Oh boy. Emphasizing the use of unguided alternative torpedoes from longer distance. To support this adjustment, we're improving the damage of the alternative torps while nerfing both the speed and range of the homing torps. These changes encourage players to focus on alternative torpedoes as their primary damage-dealing weapon. I find it so funny that people complained about Shimakaze and shit, and now they're making a class that power creeps the fuck out of the likes of Shimakaze and Holland and so forth. Except the difference is, against Shimas and Hollands, a radar cruiser can show up, radar him, kill him. Planes can show up, plane spot him, he gets killed. You can push him with hydro, he gets spotted, he gets cornered, he's killed. Whereas subs, well, they just disappear under the surface and they're gone. You have no way of cornering this creature. So the more they lean into destroyer playstyle, the more ridiculous they become, because destroyers have very inherent weaknesses, which is if they get caught out, they fucking die. Whereas the thing with subs is that you have no way of spotting them when they go under the surface, because Wargaming in their infinite wisdom decided that hydroacoustic search shouldn't work against submarines. You know, the original purpose of Aznik was locating subs, but hey, whatever. Instead, we spot ships through islands, but we don't spot subs underneath us. Additionally, these ships retain standout characteristics such as their decent surface speed and best-in-class range for their submarine surveillance, which further complement this new playstyle. A reduction in dive capacity and enhancement to acceleration parameters align these submarines with a surface-focused playstyle. Bro, surface-focused playstyle, except you can ignore radars, plane spottings, hydros, and just surface spotting to begin with. Players will find Soviet submarines better suited for operating above water, diving only under pressure or in specific tactical situations. So basically, a destroyer that can avoid all the counters whenever it feels like it. Flamu, maybe a subathon reminder on YouTube to bring plebs in? I mean, I can mention it. Okay, subathon is tomorrow, Saturday the 21st. We'll be doing a bunch of challenges, a bunch of dumb things. I'll probably be divisioning a lot with Malta. We're also gonna play War Thunder Naval probably with Malta, or that's one of the goals. I've already installed it. I've talked to the Gaijin guys. They've given us a bunch of new ships, including I have the Scharnhorst in War Thunder, so I'm gonna go check that shit out. We're gonna play that. Probably some virtual reality challenges. Basically a lot of stuff for tomorrow. And my wife is apparently looking forward to doing makeup on me if that challenge goes through. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway. Oh yeah, new intro tomorrow. Sonar parameters change. A researchable sonar. Reload time increased 6.5 to 15 seconds. Ping velocity. Oh yeah, and I'm also doing a bunch of giveaways tomorrow. I'm gonna give away some ships, I think, and then one of my mods is giving away a bunch of games. He's giving away, what was it, Warhammer Space Marine 2. He's giving away Wukong. He's giving away the new Indiana Jones. Basically, games that I've played during this year and enjoyed quite a lot. He's giving those away. But yeah, that's more tomorrow. Torpedo percentages changed. Number of bow torpedo launches increased. Number of stern torpedo launchers increased. Okay, so the acoustic torps have longer arming distance. Oh, they're so slow now. Aye. Nerfing both the speed and range of the homing torps. Aye. Look how bad they are. Look how bad. 68 knot. Junk. Who would play a ship with 68 knot torpedoes? Tier 8 as well. Absolute trash. Absolute trash. Unplayable. They're truly hitting them with the Nerf hammer to make sure that people play these things on the surface and don't use these acoustic torps. Fucking junk torps. Junk torps. Who would use this? Who would use this? 68 knot torps. Well, let's see, we have a Sancho with 67, Kigero with 67, Fenyang 67, the French ones at 64, the British ones at 62. Of course, we got the Benson with the classic 55, Kid with the 55, Kid with the 55. In fact, the only ones that are bringing up faster torps are Yukikaze with the F3 torpedoes and Fantasque. Like, basically, we got the fast French, and then we got the Yukikaze F3s, and then we got the Europeans. So yeah, really bad torpedo speed. I can tell these things really got hit with the Nerf hammer. They're absolute junk now. 68 knots, junk in 2024. But in return the detectability goes down to 1.7. Okay, cool. 1.7. That's pretty nice. That's stealthier than the Yukikaze F3s. But sure, whatever, sure. Akizuki, by the way, has 67 knots with 1.7 concealed. These are 68 with 1.7, but really bad torps. Really bad torps. And researchable ones, they get buffed to 73 knots. Okay, 73 knots. And what's the range on these? Damage increased, 15.5k, 73 knots. Okay, what was the range on these? Like we previously discussed, all submarine torpedoes will deal reduced damage with the first few kilometers. Fair enough. Yeah, so this is the anti-shotgun thing. Dive capacity reduced. Wow, huge nerf. 250 to 210. Oh, whoa. Gigantic nerf. But in return, the dive capacity... Wait, what? So they nerfed the dive capacity from 250 to 210... Which is what is that? 20% decrease? No, not even 20%. It's like a 18. Not even 8, maybe 17% decrease in dive capacity. But then in return, they almost double the recharge rate of the dive capacity. From 0.8 to 1.5. That's almost double it. Is this how they nerf these things? What? They're recharging twice as fast. These things can spend more time underwater now because of this. These things can spend more time underwater, not less, despite all the claims in the devlog above. Holy shit. Maximum dive and ascent rate reduced. But then in return, acceleration parameters improved. The ship now reaches full engine power sooner, with settings similar to destroyers. Oh, huge surface detectability. But who cares about this if they can just sit on periscope? Like, why wouldn't these things just sit on periscope? When they can recharge this quick. Submarine surveillance in return gets gigabuffed to 40 seconds. Cooldown increased from 80 to 100. Yeah, but, bro, 20% longer cooldown in return for 15% more duration is fucking nuts. And the prep time is reduced slightly. And DCP is changed to fast DCP. So they no longer have that weakness of actually being able to put a flood on them. Now they can cycle through their DCPs because they got 4 charges. Huh. Very cool. But wait, what was the range on these torps? What was the range on these torps? I'm actually curious. Because like this is Wargaming's idea of like these really bad torpedoes now. So what was this thing called? L20. See if I can find it. L20. Here's Soviet. Okay, here's close testing maybe. I think it's this tablet. Soviet submarines. Here we go. We'll find L20. Dude, no stats on them there. Is there stats here? Okay, I found a deblog here. Did you guys know that these torps used to originally do 10k damage? But wait, can we find a range on this thing? Where the hell do we find a range on these torps? Where's the range on this? Why can't I find it? It shouldn't be this hard. I can't find it on the deblog? Why not? Why can't I find it? Huh? I can't. Where's the range? Ship stats here. No, that's this one. Okay, I found it here. L. Here we go. So what's the range on these terrible torpedoes? The alternate torps. Okay, so wait. The acoustic torps have 9 km range. 9 km range on these really terrible torps that do 68 knots. And the alternative torps now have 11 kilometers of range. 11 km range. And they do 15.5. 11 kilometers of range. That was surprisingly hard to find. 11 kilometers of range. Okay. So wait, what the fuck? Wait, ship tool says 12 km? Maybe they buffed it to 12? 12 km torps. So they're like... basically like Öland torps. They're basically like Öland torps. Öland torps are 12 km as well. And Öland torps are 76 knots, these are 73, but the difference is Öland torps do 10k damage, 10.7, these do 15.5. So they're just much, much better torps than the Öland. Very cool, very cool. Very cool. Only DD with more torp range at tier 8 is a Sasha, yes. But it's a submarine, so it needs to... I still can't believe that people out there are complaining about DDs when the way Wargaming are treating subs lately. Like, it's fucking crazy to me. Like, how can you look at DDs and be like, yeah, that's the problem, not these fucking things. I think it's only that the average player in subs is so fucking awful, so they don't know how to use any of their advantages. Sonar parameters changed. Okay, reload time nerfed, range reduced, ping velocity increased. So this is like their way to try to get people to stop using pings or to use acoustic less, but this actually buffs their survivability. Like increasing the cooldown on subs on sub pings tend to make subs much more survivable, because the average submarine player just ping 24/7 and gives away their location, and then you can just spam ASW on him until you eventually hit him. So this, while it's a nerf to the ship, it's actually a buff to the player base, because the player base just spams these like a retard all the time, and that's what gets most of them killed. It's kind of like if you would remove torps from Yoshino win rate would go up significantly because people would stop giving broadside to use torps, but it's kind of the same thing with this. Okay, they nerf... Acoustic gets nerfed to only 70 knots. Terrible torpedoes. 2 km concealment. Alternative torps. 75 knots. Okay, what's the range on the K1? What's the range on the K1? I'm actually curious now. Do we have the K1 in... We have the K1 here. These are the homing ones. Do we have the other ones? The normal ones are 13.5 km range. Okay, you can actually see them here. Nice. So where does this put these things? 13.5 km range. Wait, these things... Wait, they're not changing the detectability on these torps, by the way. They're actually not changing the detectability on these torps. That's crazy, because... okay, first of all, these torpedoes now do 16.8 km, 8k, which means their DPM is going to be really high. And second of all, they're not changing the detectability of these torps. the K1 has a detectability of 1.5 km on the torpedoes. So they're buffing the speed without changing the detectability, which means these things are going to be some of the stealthiest torps. In fact, the reaction time is going to be completely obscene. Like, if you look at them right now, that's the K1. That's alternative. Where's the... yeah, these are the alternative, the non-homing one, the normal ones type. And we look at the reaction time. Like, the reaction time on these things right now is right up there with Cassard and Daring Tarps. But what they're doing is they're buffing the speed to 75, which is going to make them, but without touching the conceal. So this might be the, in fact, these are probably going to be one of the only Torps that do, they're going to be 75 here. But unlike these guys who have a 1.8 km conceal on the torpedoes, it's going to have keep the 1.5 because they're not touching it. So that means the reaction time on these torps is going to be completely obscene. It's going to be so hard to dodge this. Because these are not going to be ping torps. They're just normal torps, but they're just really, really fucking good. And then, of course, unlike the rest of these torps, they're going to be hitting for 16.8. Is there anyone with that conceal that even hits that hard? 1.5 here. These things, yeah, but it's Cassard close range. Yeah, it's Cassard within 7 kilometers. That's kind of misleading. Hull torps? No, but they're much slower. I don't know who comes even close with that conceal and speed. Like, these things are gonna be pretty fucking unique in what they can do. Yeah, same thing here. Again, the dive capacity nerf, where they double the recharge rate. Cool. Underwater speed reduced. Okay, but you're not going to need to sit underwater, though, much with these things. The whole point of these things is going to be, if someone radars, if planes show up, if someone hydros, you just dive and disappear. Or if a DD runs at you, you just dive and disappear. It gets to improved acceleration. Surface detect, very slight nerf. Fair enough. They have to account for Libertad rudder on torpedoes now, so I guess fuck all BBs. That's the problem with them adding, like, they keep adding faster and faster BBs with either hydro, speed boost, or insane maneuverability, or all of the above. They keep adding all of these things, they're piling them on. And then, to make torpedo boats viable, in that situation, or to make subs viable, they keep piling on the subs as well. They keep piling on the torps, they make them faster. Like, torpedo power creep has been insane. It keeps getting faster and faster to catch up with the new ships. And then the problem is, if you're playing one of the older boats, well, you're shit out of luck. It doesn't matter if you're playing a DD. Good luck trying to torp a Libertad. Like, I remember fucking playing Shima into Libertad. It was the dumbest thing in the world. Like, he saw my torps and he could turn into them and basically mitigate the entire set because he handled so well. And then on the flip side, when you're playing some of the old battleship hulls like fucking Montanas or Yamatos or whatever, and then the enemy has something like a Cassard or some shit, you just get fucking dev struck, or a sub shows up, you just get dev struck. Like, you can't even dodge the torps even if you time it perfectly. It's just gotten really ridiculous. So the power creep is a huge issue because they have this obsession with that the next ship has always got to be fucking more stronger than the old one, and they keep piling and piling and piling. Submarine surveillance, 40 seconds. This is a bit of a harsher change than the other one. To 90, but I mean, it's still really strong. And also, it's 9 km range. That's really strong. That's like a light cruiser radar against subs in this sub. DCP cooldown reduced 3 to 4, and action, but action time is decreased though. This is pretty important though, the decrease in action time. 5 seconds. If this thing gets spotted, you can do the thing where you drop your depth charges, and then you wait a bit, and then you drop a second. And if you get a flood on the second and he fucks up and insta-DCPs, you can punish him. This will work against the worst players. The better players will, of course, wait until the ASW has exploded, and then they'll DCP and go dark, the same way you do in a destroyer. If you're trying to go dark, you wait until you've actually gone dark, and or basically most of the shots have been fired, and then you DCP the fire, instead of, whereas potato DDs, insta-DCP fires get set on fire, and then they can't go dark.